Hi, welcome to another UK Gravel Collective video, and on today's video we're going to be looking at the USE Vybe suspension stem. Now before I start, anyone in the comments who mentions flex stem owes me £1. So the USE suspension stem, there are quite a few suspension stems on the market these days. This is USE's version, but this is slightly different to the others because it comes with rebound and damping adjustment, and it also looks like a conventional stem. Now you'll need a 4mm, a 6mm and a 3mm Allen wrench to adjust this, and you change the elastomer by actually taking the front part of the stem off. Something you feasibly could do on the bike, but it would be a bit of a faff, so it's best to set it up to begin with. And I'm really glad to say that it comes with paper instructions. You don't have to go online to look for how to adjust the stem. It's very straightforward, and there's also a guide depending on the length of stem and your rider weight which elastomer to start with, which should be best for your weight. Happily, the one that's in there is on the guide for my rider weight when I'm kitted up on the bike, but it does come with a series of different elastomers to change how much the actual stem deflects. It also comes with a little pot of grease as well. So the USE Vybe stem, let's fit it to a bike and see if it actually works. So here we are on the stem cam. Let's ride down a typical local trail for me and see if you can see how the stem performs. And hopefully the camera will be steady enough to see it. So this is just a local trail. It's rooty, it's not really gravel, it's rooty, it's muddy, and it's bumpy. Now obviously I'm on the hoods now because I can't go on the drops because the camera's in the way. Hopefully the stem will be secure enough, the camera will be secure enough rather, so you can see it in action. Now the elastomer in this stem is the one that USE recommend for my rider weight, and the compression and rebound has been adjusted about halfway in, so not completely sure what my settings will be, so I've just sort of done it medium style. So obviously it's going to work uphill as well, so a bit of stand-up climbing, see if there's any annoying bob. I mean, it doesn't feel like it when you're out the saddle and deliberately trying to move stuff. So I'll have a bounce. Over some roots, climbing. Now this feels completely, it will feel completely unnatural to me because I descend on the drops, because there's much more control for me there, less chance of my hands bouncing off the handlebars, but everyone's different. Right, now it's a little bit of downhill. A little drop off. So let's have a look at this Ultimate Sports Engineering, or USE, Vybe suspension stem. Well, as you can see, I mean, the first thing to note is that it looks like an ordinary stem. A lot of the suspension stems, especially the parallelogram ones, well, frankly, they look awful, like some sort of Heath Robinson concoction, and they just look flexy anyway. Whereas the Vybe, I mean, apart from this pivot bolt there, it looks like an ordinary stem. This is the 70mm version. They also do a 90mm version. The 70mm version weighs 195 grams, so not particularly heavy. I mean, not super light, obviously, because there's a lot going on. And as before mentioned, it actually pivots here, and inside here there's an elastomer. So a little squidgy piece of, well, wouldn't I say elastic? And obviously when the stem moves, it compresses. There's 4 different weights of elastomer, and there's a guide in the instructions and on the website to tailor it for your rider weight. This one has been tailored for my weight, but also you also get rebound, and underneath there's compression damping, so you can tailor it and make it feel how you want, how quickly it rebounds, how quickly it compresses, and how far, by changing the elastomer. But you will need 4 different Allen keys. So 4mm for the stem bolts, for the steerer bolts, 4mm for the stem cap bolts, 3mm for the rebound and compression, and 6mm for the actual pivot bolt. And you have to undo this and take the front of the stem off to change the elastomer. In theory, you could do this while it's still attached to the bike, but you know, I wouldn't recommend it. It's better to take it all off, do it properly, torque it to the right settings, that 10 Newton meters, it tells you what they are, because obviously, you know, you're relying on this a lot when you're riding down stuff, so you want it to be done properly. And the disclaimer is always, if you're not happy to do it yourself, get your local bike shop to do it, or if you haven't got the tools. I've not tried the 90mm one, just because the 70mm suits this bike really well. It's also rated for a flat bar, which a lot of the other suspension stems aren't. But the geometer rating, the squidginess of the elastomer inside is different for a flat bar, because obviously you've got more leverage on it. Now, the only thing I will say is that it works fantastically well when you're on the hoods, and you can sort of see it moving, just me doing it statically. When you're on the drops, not so well. Now, whether it's because your hands are in line with or behind the pivot point, then maybe. Now, if you're like me and do all of my technical descending on the drops, and that's sort of where I want this to work the most. I cruise along on the hoods. You know, if I'm going downhill, I have something rough, I don't want to be on the hoods because hand could bounce off. Down here, there's less chance of it bouncing off and better grip. I can still reach the brakes. So it's a tale of 2 sort of riders, really. If you love being on the hoods and you're there all the time and you're only occasionally on the drops, I mean, number one, if you never go on the drops, why are you using a drop handlebar? But if you're on the hoods, then a suspension stem and this Vybe is definitely one that you should consider. If you just love being on the drops all the time and you do all your descending, all your riding on the drops, then maybe, you know, you should consider something else, because it 100% works better on the hoods. That being said, I have enjoyed using it, and I think it has contributed So on longer rides, just for a little bit of comfort. I do suffer a bit from numbness if I get my hands in the same place for too long, and that has definitely been reduced with this stem, because you know, if you're on here or on the hoods, like I said, it works brilliantly. And I tend to not cruise along on the drop, so I'm getting the benefit of it working up here. I'm not getting the benefit down here because it's not working as well. So that's definitely one to think about. But other than that, it's a great piece of engineering, and I love the fact that you can dial in the rebound and the compression, which you can't really on any of the other stems I've tried, other than changing the elastomer. And on all of them, simple as some of them might be, it's still a fiddle. But this, once set up to your liking, you know, you can leave it alone. So I'd like to say a massive thanks to the guys at Ultimate Sports Engineering for letting me have a trial of their Vybe stem. What do you think of suspension stems? Let me know down in the comments. Is this something that you might consider for your bike? If you'd like to see more videos of me trying out kit before you spend your money on it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.